live. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again. And here is Michael, Kevin, and Bill. We are waiting to share our thoughts in the next Wasteless World Talks. Last time it was very interesting, and I'm sure this time will be as well. So, if I may ask, so how was your week, Kevin? This time we will start with you.
It's been a okay week. I think that the year has kicked off, but nothing has really started. It's a strange time of year. Yeah, now we have the wonders of Davos to get us or keep us occupied for the rest of the week. Let's see what that brings.
You have been not invited.
Well, I did, but my private jet needs it needs a good cleaning, actually, so I couldn't go down with the dirty jet.
You cannot go down with the dirty one, of course. It must be shiny and beautiful again. And what about you, Bill?
So my invitation has been lost in the mail, and I've asked them to resend it. But I see that their concern yesterday was about the splintering globalization of the economies, and I would love to be a fly on the wall and hear some of those conversations, because in the past, these giants have met to strengthen their hold on the world economy. And now that things are changing, power is shifting. Some nations and business people and giants are on the ascendancy, and some are on the descendancy. And they generally do not like that. They like it to be sure and them in control. And for the next little while, they will not be in as much control.
That's right. With my invitation is slightly easier than with yours. I received my ban several months before any of similar events. So, I offer them all the time that I will share with them how we created. They refuse for whatever reason. So I don't know, but it doesn't matter. The fact is that it looks like that it may be one of the last Davos meetings, because they are unsatisfied. They cannot deliver anymore because I know one of the reasons, we just analyze it shortly. One of the reasons why they are on power because they have money. And money lost its value thanks to them generally, because they shifted into digital form and so on. So the gold is not behind right now. So the value is virtual. And generally, as very well the Bitcoin and similar stories show up, virtual money has no value generally. You switch the switch and there you have nothing the next moment. And so they are somehow in a spiral of debt. For me, the giants are dead already. We just don't see that they are dead because they are the scavengers who crawl along, which looks like a living giant, but they are not living anymore. And because of the size, they have a problem to move so quickly as the changes which I will describe are happening. So this is why the human wins. And the crazy part, this week I was 5 times asked already whether the Industry 5.0 Strategic Alliance is the new World Economic Forum, which I have to answer no, please. We will be bigger, but we will never destroy the planet for money. But there is a very interesting topic about this, which is the fact that the people really understand what the change is, and they request the change. And this is why even the forces in Davos are strongest in the history. But just yesterday, I have learned a very interesting topic. Do you know the date? When was the World Economic Forum launched? Exact date and year.
No idea.
I do not.
January 24th, 1971. When Michael Rada was born, December 24, 1971. So, I am sure it's not coincidence. When the evil start to wake up, the Archangel Michael must came with a sword in fire generally and push him back to the hell. And yeah, 50 years later, that's happening. So it's fine.
One thing that you have taught us, Michael, is that nature loves to be in balance.
And let me start with one topic. We have today in the noontime, we have an audio event again. And this time we spoke about education and the impact of Industry 5.0 and generally future on the education. And one topic resonated very strongly. And that was the fact that some people speak about that instead of teachers in the classroom, there will be artificial intelligence and robots only. So what is your opinion about this direction? What is your feeling?
You use the word only, and the world is not binary in black and white. So just be careful of that.
Okay.
So just as in medicine or healthcare, having artificial intelligence will not eliminate the doctors and the providers. It will assist them, and the providers and the teachers will continue to be the driving force, I believe. If you go down that rabbit hole of whether or not robots can take over the world, Space Odyssey 2001, I'm not going to get into that today, but I believe that it's going to that the AI will support and help almost all different parts of living. I can see companions, AI companions, helping older people, certainly younger people in the schools, doctors, teachers, almost all facets of life will be supported and improved with the application of AI. And just recently we saw Chat GPT, or I get those initials wrong, but fascinating development. They quickly came up with a way to screen for it, and that was, I think that was just this last week that it hit the news. This last week I was at our daughter's home and playing with my 6-year-old and 4-year-old grandsons. My 1-year-old granddaughter was off in the corner creating a mess, and what my grandsons and I were doing, have you seen the refrigerators that have a computer screen on the front? There's a camera inside, so you don't need to open up to see if you've got any milk left. But it's also internet connected. So this was, and there was an internet connection for Siri and, excuse me, Alexa. That's why it's good to have your wife in the same room with you. She can keep you straight. So we turned on Alexa, and the boys were absolutely fascinated with any question they had. This very polite and knowledgeable voice would answer them. So this is a small step in that direction that you're talking about, Michael.
The question is, don't you feel bad when instead of asking you, the granddad, they are asking the fridge?
So there is so much knowledge in this world that I think that elevates me to a guide, an emotional, a spiritual, a guide up higher than, okay, let's practice your times tables. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3, and so on, which is so much of the time that a parent actually spends. You're a parent, Kevin. You're a parent, aren't you?
Yeah.
How many children do you have?
3 boys.
How old? Oh, I am so sorry.
Yeah, a
I'm so
handful.
sorry. So, and that's the way life is when you're a parent, is every single second is consumed doing something that must be done, either to get the dinner ready, or to get the homework done, or to get the whatever. And so how much time do we have to talk about emotional and spiritual topics? So I see this as a big help.
What about you, Kevin?
I think that, like I say, I've got 3 kids, and I was lucky enough that they went through a Danish education system. But I think most education systems don't exist to educate. They exist to produce the next generation of whatever industry demands. So I think that if you put robots into school, it makes the demands of industry easier, because then you will get the drones that you need for the next generation. And if they're using robots because they want to dumb down the next generation, it makes a lot of sense. It's, you can't argue with a robot the same way you can with a human. So I think it's quite a sinister movement to say that we're going to autonomize education, because then it's no longer about the individual. It's no longer about an individual's skill set or aspirations or desires or lack of desires or needing help or anything like that. It is simply a conveyor belt to produce the next generation of workers.
I fully agree with what Bill said, that it shouldn't be only, I use the word, but it shouldn't be only AI. On the other hand, a lot of schools are delivering exactly as you said. So the teacher is, let's say, the God who says something, and the other should follow. In many schools and classes, the children are even not allowed to ask questions, because they are just delivering knowledge. And yesterday or day before yesterday, I launched the next Industry 5.0 awareness poll. I love the polls on LinkedIn generally. And the best are the one with 4 same answers or 4 wrong answers. This is best. Oh, it's my. And what was interesting, I asked the people what is more valuable, whether knowledge or wisdom. Or the third answer was, I don't know, or I never thought about it. So that was interesting. The comments there, I think, Bill, one of the comment was yours, if or not, but it was so interesting. And at the end, it's still running, so for 5 more days or so. But at the moment, I think 85 or 90% go for wisdom. And this is, I think, something which we talked even last time about the AI and so on, that the robots probably can deliver knowledge because they just repeat what was programmed and they just share it. This is the way as you described, Kevin, generally. But the wisdom, this is what the human does. This is I call it the human touch generally. And that's exactly, and I don't mean the touch when they beat the student with some stick because he or she does not do what they did. In our schools, it's prohibited, but when I was in a school, it was not prohibited. So it really hurts. It really hurts sometimes. Yeah.
And I think also it's important that values are not put just on one focus. So, for example, in the United Kingdom, the education system hasn't valued skills, woodworking skills, handworking skills, all those things, apprenticeships, to encourage the next generation of makers. It hasn't been their focus. Now they have no one to produce anything. Whereas in Germany, they put equal focus on academics as they do on those with other sets of skills. And it's really, really important, not just for society, but also for children, that whatever they're good at is valued enough that they can then contribute to their society in a meaningful way.
How your grandchildren like the kindergarten, Bill?
They have taken to it very well. The socialization is a big part of it, but also being out of the house and out from under mommy and daddy has helped them. So my wife and I were just talking the other night about they go through these phases, and you don't realize that they've left a phase until it's really in looking backward. You realize, oh, well, that was a phase, and now they're in a new phase, which you won't fully appreciate until you can look back at it, and they've moved on to another phase. But I just wanted to say, Kevin, that I agree with your with your assessment of AI and its sinister nature, and it makes me think of a case that we've made for almost all technology improvements or technology advancements. I'm trying to use a non-judgmental word, and that is there are good parts to it and there are bad parts to it, and it's our job as humans to channel the good parts and to put guardrails on the bad parts, knowing full well that human nature being what it is, some people will take advantage of one for the betterment of all of humans, and some people will take advantage of the sinister parts for their personal advantage. So any discussion like this is very valuable in helping to understand the pros and the cons of each one of these.
I think the biggest risk is generally that in the digitalization is so welcoming. It's so easy. You just touch the screen and you are there. So this is how the God is much more closer. You do not have to go to the church. You just ask Alexa or Siri or whoever, they will deliver the answer. And I think this is what I call them the holders of the switch generally, who can switch off and there will be no Alexa the next day, and everybody will call and will be willing to pay double, triple, whatever, be there. I just few minutes before this call, Elon Musk posted some post which says that he finally get some media agency prepay for the new Twitter, so for his Twitter, and he was celebrating that. So what is it prepaying for the media? It's generally nothing else that the media can tell what they want. So it's not freedom of speech if you have to pay it. So it's really strange. But I feel, and I really like the comparing with, or what Kevin mentioned, that in many schools they lost the skills. The skills are not improved. Not speaking about the humanity or human skills as in my class in the 70s or 80s, there was something called right behavior. Let's call it the right behavior. And we learned that I have to open door for a woman if she goes, and I have to help all elderly people and a lot of things. So including dancing, for example. But that's completely lost. So as we have something, what was called workshops. For boys, they teach how to work with wood or steel or whatever, and girls learn how to cook. You can go as a boy to learn cooking, nobody does, and the girls can do the opposite side, nobody does at the time. But it's really disappeared. There is nothing like that anymore in the school. Up to the level of university, there is nothing like that left.
Michael, I share your concern. This past July, my wife and I went back to my high school 50th anniversary. So you had your 50th birthday, I had my 50th high school reunion. And they've redone the high school in some wonderful ways. And I could talk all day about that. One of them was the exclusion zones as you walk in, to just in case a shooter should come into the school or something, and that was terrifying to me. But one of the things was the computer labs, where they are building robots, and it had some of the robots there on the floor within their paths, and so on, that they would program the computers in high school. That's impressive. And my my 6-year-old and his brother are both using Oculus virtual reality glasses, and when they wear them, they're gone. They're they're in a different world. And that has two sides to it too, right, Kevin? So
Definitely.
yeah. So I think there's also a resurgence here of makers. I was curious to hear you use that word, Kevin. I thought maybe it was a local word here. And in fact, they have converted factory buildings that they rent out to one-man companies or two-man companies or whatever, that are called Makers Mart. And so there's a makers there's a dozen of them here in Connecticut, where people need a place to share office equipment, but meanwhile just need a desk to be able to screw or pound or glue or whatever it is that they're putting together. And so I welcome that for all the reasons that you just said. So I see it as turning around. Yeah.
I studied art at university, and I remember the concern that we were in or on another planet was so great that every Thursday from 9 till 12, we had what they called real world classes.
So art is not a real world.
No, art was it's another thing entirely. So we actually had to discuss political events of the week, which was for me, I really enjoyed it, but it was a struggle for some, I have to say. But they cared. I must admit, it was quite an interesting choice and quite well done.
I will share with you, yesterday or day before yesterday, one British comedian delivered a speech in Oxford. I don't know whether you have seen it. It's unbelievable speech, really, really strong. They have some events where it looks like they copied the parliament and something like that. And he has a speech there. But I will share the link with you. It's really 7 minutes. But for a long time, I haven't been listening to anything similar. And if you speak about the real world, yesterday was Greta Thunberg arrested.
Yes.
In Germany. It was in every news. Have you seen her face? She was happy. Because in all these 3 years, she was never arrested. And of course, she was again in media. She was in the center of media. And again, everybody write about Greta Thunberg. And this is what makes her happy. Today, I have on the event, I have a lady from London, and she is AHDH, whatever this same as Greta generally. And I have a friends which have this as well. She was so well discussing. We has been so well discussing, and she's 61, and she has an adult. So other children has a standard, and then is something which is called adult and the same. And it was a really beautiful talk, and we will speak with her. Maybe I will invite her to join, because it was really, really interesting to listen to the different perspective. And I don't think generally that it's a disability. I think it's an ability. because she said, I discovered myself after. I really find out myself. And it was really interesting. Unfortunately, I have it recorded as audio. I just have to find a way how to turn it in a video and to put it on a YouTube. It was really interesting. So I know that if you put the virtual glasses on and you are not Michael Rada, who is sick out of this, because I don't know for what reason I cannot have it, then you completely lost yourself. And there are so many right now, so many technologies. I have here sitting yesterday a business partner who offers services for when new employees came, then they do not have to go to the machines. They have it everything in virtual reality, including the safety and fire and whatever protection. And they have big success with it. But at the same time, they said, then when the people join the real life, it's different, because in none of the virtual reality generally, you see problems, you see waste. You don't see it there. Even if you transfer a company into digital twins environment, so you scan everything and so on, you put away the waste. There is just the perfect picture of the factory, which has nothing to do with reality. And this is what I like, the reality classes, Kevin. If I can, I would like to use it for one of my next articles, because the reality classes sounds to me that this is something what should be included in Industry 4.0 education, in all education systems. Reality classes, and that's a great name. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Go ahead and use it. I really enjoyed it. It was actually, it's something you assume everyone does by themselves, but actually have to sit down and do it. You learn really a lot, because you're forced to think about something that you would otherwise just accept.
One very interesting topic. There is a presidential election in my country. So the first round was on Saturday last week. And generally there is one candidate who is accused by stealing a lot of money and so on, but still he's going for president. It's unbelievable. It's East Europe, I will say, but similar happened in Italy and in other countries. So, and the other two, there was for the first time a women, and then there was a general. And people who are over 50 or over 60 in my country, generally have to be in communist country before, because otherwise you will not be able to do a lot of things. So both of these men has been in communist country. The one was with the secret police as well, so which is not a very positive image. But what was interesting after, so in the first round, everybody expected that there will be 3 candidates in a linear, but the women somehow did not make it. She was on 13% and the other was over 40. And happened something what never happened before. She get connected with one of the candidates after. So she said, please hand your voices over to him. We have the same feelings, same everything. And something like that never happened before, because there has been all the time enemies. And just now they turn somehow into friends, just to be the evil generally. And that was interesting development, which not a single of the companies who predict the political development and election on whatever, none of them was even close to this result. So here we see how important is the human part in this type of decisions. So this is why the reality classes are so important. We have 10 more minutes, just for your information.
So when I was growing up in high school, they had the same, like we called it shop class, and so we built salt and pepper shakers, and we learned how to use the tools. And meanwhile, the girls were learning how to cook and so on. I don't know if I had the option to go and learn how to cook. Maybe I did. I just ignored it. I don't know. It points out to me the damage that stereotypes can do, right? And there was another stereotype, and that is that we were all classed. This group of students will go to university. This group of students will be workers. And this was just accepted. So the organization, you talked about the education, making the workers or making the students into good workers on a conveyor belt to feed whatever the industry wants. Education is part of that, and prejudice and so on is all part of that. And so it's really a society challenge. And I keep going back. My mind as I'm thinking this, my mind keeps saying, bring it back to nature. Bring it back to bring the comparison back to nature. And I'm unable to find prejudice in nature, right? I'm actually unable to find education in nature. And do you see it? I see production in nature, growth, protection. I see protection. They're proving now that they give off I don't know, some sort of chemical that the other trees can hear or can feel, and then in turn they put off their own defensive and so on. So I see that in nature. So with each of these industries, whether it be education or healthcare and so on, how do we bring them back to nature? Because I think in nature, as you say, there is no waste. So the more we can be like nature in our activities, the more we will reduce and eliminate waste. So how do we do that? How do we do that in education, for example?
This is an interesting, very, I don't know if it's also the same in the US, but in England, there's been a long discussion about education and the difference between nature and nurture. What makes certain kids bright? Is it natural, or is it their upbringing? And of course, it has to be a combination of the two, but with the British system, they've gone almost exclusively for nurture, so which will reinforce the class system and will keep money in certain pockets and power in certain families. Whereas that's not how nature intends things to be. You know, everybody is born with a certain set of skills. I saw an interesting talk. Unfortunately, I can't remember her name. It's an American, she's an American architect who is autistic. And she talks about her learning difficulties and how she turned that to an advantage, and how with her different way of thinking, she can approach architecture in a different way. But she's had to do that all by herself because there's nowhere in the education system to give her the space to do that. And so she's the most incredible inspirational talker, absolutely fantastic. But we should be focusing on individual children's nature, not producing conveyor belt education systems.
I think one of the ways how to get industries to nature is generally to kill money. Because the money is making the difference, the wealth. Are you rich or are you poor? Will you do general manager or will you be the worker? And there is I don't know whether nature has something like a value system, which we have implemented. There are 4 more minutes, okay, for it. So I don't think it has a value system that this tree is big, it has bigger value than a small tree. I don't think it exists in nature as well. The sunshine goes the same way to the big tree, so as small grass or small flower. There is no less or more. And this is the disbalance which was artificially created to rule on the people. because the rich one have more power and so on and so. So I think it's connected. I do understand that we need something to grasp on, but I don't think it's money or is the financial value. You know, financial value is generally nothing physical. It's nothing. Piece of paper or coins or whatever. It's nothing. But the bread has the power. I think that the very original societies which generally exchange the things, bread for whatever and whatever for something else, that was more natural, because this is exactly what nature does. I will give the fruit to the soil, and the soil will turn into fertile soil, and so it's connected. The ants will eat it, and this is this. It's completely reborn of the system going back to nature. So this is why I think if you look around, that majority of these man-invented topics are the silos which we need to break. And this is, I think this is one of the ways. I don't say it's easy. I don't know what should come after, but I know, for example, that not a single class in my life I was educated about waste or waste prevention. Never in a school. Never ever. I never heard about it. So we have 2 minutes, okay?
The reason nature is so efficient and has no waste is because everything in nature has a role. And the problem is, in our education system, we're so wasteful and so inefficient because we don't recognize the individual roles that children could have and should develop into.
And that's the way. That's the way, I think. So we meet again on the Google space as we met at the beginning. I hope it will work on my computer. And I would like to thanks to everyone once again. Have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe and free. Next time there will be new Wasteless World Talk. And this time I will add something. Be healthy, be happy, and be human. That's the new part. So see you in a few minutes, and the rest I will see you in 1 week time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.